Smart Muses, where everything is awesome, where we talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Well, you know what makes me really, really happy is the Hedge Night. The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, as it's going to be known for the TV show, and as it is in a collected book thing for all three of the novellas by George R. Martin. Now, for those of you that have only seen maybe the TV shows or believe the memes or whatever, and I understand the memes are out there, and I fell for them at one time too. Not all of George R. Martin's stuff is as nasty as presented on the Game of Thrones TV show. And this one in particular is very, very wholesome. Very wholesome. It has a fantastic character. Now, of course, Game of Thrones does have its graphic content, rather a Song of Ice and Fire, but you will not find it here. So if you want to find a really nice, very wholesome, for lack of a better word, tale of chivalry and good versus evil and good kind of triumphing, this is a good one for you. This is a very good one, and it's incredibly well written with fantastic characters. And so we're going to be continuing on with part 2 this time around. And where did my book go? I am currently in an undisclosed location. By the way, for those of you that have been praying and inquiring and all of that, the surgery went fantastically well, and my sister is recovering remarkably well. So we all are very thankful for that. And for all of you that will be coming in on the replay, I want to give you a very hearty welcome and maybe a like, share, and subscribe. Or if you're here, maybe after the show has aired. Like if you don't want to be spoiled, if you'd rather read the book or whatever, or go along with these reviews-ish things that I'm doing, wait till afterwards, that's fine too. Just go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed and have the bell rung, and you will be able to find it. Again, I wish I could have a regular schedule, but that is just not possible. I'm able to work this out now by a very small miracle. I have a little bit of a gap. Well, look who we have in the chat. It is himself, Salty Traveling Sea, who says, good morning and great to hear the news. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Just hopped in. I understand. Thank you. All the support I definitely do appreciate. And thank you for the well wishes. Yeah. So I'm going to be going there later this afternoon and evening. I'm kind of taking the night shift, if you will. But yes, I'm very happy to announce good news. Good news. And from everything that we understand, a very successful surgery. Oh, let me go ahead and make sure the comments are up here so I don't miss anybody. So once again, those of you, if you are seeing ads and if those are disrupting your enjoyment of this, please let me know and I will do what I can to work that out. So previously, we had the Hedge Knight who buried his mentor father figure, then decided he was going to be going to a tourney rather, and ran into this little bratty kind of kid who followed him around and tried to steal his horse. It was very brazen. And he finally, he didn't agree to let the kid come with him. Mea culpa. I'm getting ahead of myself. But in any case, it was a very historic introduction. A child who doesn't really act like the peasant that he is presenting himself as, and has his head shaved or shaven. The grammar police, I'm sure, will let me know, especially, yeah. So let me see here. Well, yeah, we don't yet know the kid's name, but of course we all know the kid's name because it's all very famous, Duncan Egg. So let's see. I think I ended here. Yes. Oh, yes, because they spoil the ending of House of Dragons. So I sincerely hope you somehow didn't get it spoiled. But if you're watching House of the Dragons, you also watch Game of Thrones. Season 2, Joffrey spoils it. Previously on George R. R. Martin, CSI. Well, there is more CSI involved here because the more you look at egg, and I'm going to point this out in this chapter, who really is egg? There's theories about this, but I think it's more than theories. I think that George R. R. Martin has dropped it in plain sight. So, he arrived. Oh, wait, he hasn't arrived yet. Oh gosh, this always just makes me so hungry. Oh wait, he did arrive and he has his tent on the grass. Next time I'm going to definitely mark where I stopped because there aren't chapter endings here. So I just find chapter breaks approximately 20 to 25 pages. In normal times, the meadow served as a commons for the folk of Ashford town across the river, but now it was transformed. A second town had sprung up overnight, a town of silk instead of stone, larger and fairer than its elder sister. Dozens of merchants had erected their stalls along the edge of the field, selling felts and fruits, belts and boots, hides and hocks, earthenware, gemstones, pewter work, spices, feathers, and all manner of other goods. Jugglers, puppeteers, and magicians wandered amongst the crowds, as did the hooers and cutpurses. Dunk kept a wary hand on his coin. My first thought was, they're at a Ren fair, where towns do spring up overnight. But just the picture that he's painting of this, I think that there's an energy to it and an excitement, and it makes me want to go to a Ren fair, or certainly it makes me want to dress up in medieval clothing, which I do have, by the way. I do indeed. Oh, here's the hungry part. When he caught the smell of sausages sizzling over a smoky fire, oh boy, his mouth began to water. Yeah, there's nothing like if you're out camping and something and sausages sizzling on an open fire, or frankly, anything over an open fire, even coffee over an open fire is amazing when you are camping. Oh boy. So he bought one with a copper from his pouch and a horn of ale to wash it down. And of course, people did drink ale. It was safer to drink ale in the Middle Ages, and this is kind of pseudo Middle Ages. The water was not clean. So people would definitely have ale for breakfast. Hello, everyone coming in. Nice to see you. As he watched a painted wooden knight battle a painted wooden dragon. So we have a puppet show. The puppeteer who worked the dragon was good to watch too. A tall drink of water with the olive skin and black hair of Dorn. She was slim as a lance with no to speak of, but Dunk liked her face and the way her fingers made the dragon snap and slither at the end of its strings. Oof. Yay, a puppet show. We endorse puppet shows here at Miss Martin Muses. And he says that he would have given her a coin if he had had one to spare. There were armorers amongst the merchants, as he had hoped. A Tyroshi with a forked blue beard was selling ornate helms, gorgeous, fantastical things wrought in the shape of birds and beasts and chased with gold and silver. And elsewhere he found a sword maker hawking cheap steel blades, and another whose work was much finer. But it was not a sword he lacked, because we know he has a sword from his deceased mentor. Now, the armor stuff, that makes me think of Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I need to go to an armorer and get a better sword. But of course, this is not the one that Dunk wanted. And so that one was far, far away. Because what does he need? Oh, wait. He's looking at now a shirt of fine chainmail and a pair of lobstered steel gauntlets displayed on the table before him. "You do good work." "None better," said the stumpy man. He had a black beard, huge hands, and no trace of humility. "I need armor for the tourney," Dunk told him. "A suit of good mail with gorget greaves and great helm." Once again, if I am saying this wrong, and if I profess ignorance of these things, it is completely honest and I am open to being corrected because I don't know a thing about it. I'm more for the overall social history of these things and, of course, women's clothing. The old man's health helm would fit his head, but he wanted more protection for his face. Yeah, you need something really good if you're going to be going into a tournament. "You're a big one, but I've armored bigger. Neil, I want to measure those shoulders. And that thick neck of yours." Reminding us again in a not so subtle way that Dunk is very tall, he's got a thick neck, and he needs to kneel down so that the man can measure him. Let me see. "I have some pieces in me wagon that might do for you. Nothing prettied up with gold or silver, mind you, just good steel, strong and plain. I make helms that look like helms, not winged pigs and queer foreign fruits. But mine will serve you better if you take a lance in the face. Yes, practicality over prettiness." And then Dunk asks him how much it costs, and they start to haggle. Finally, Dunk trades in some of the armor, but it still doesn't pay for everything. But he says that he will pay with his winnings because Dunk is very confident. Also, they mentioned during this haggling that merchants are notoriously mistrustful of hedge knights, which makes complete sense because, as we learned earlier, the hedge knights were often thieves. They often, on the off season, got tempted to that. Ooh, and Dunk's like, "I mean to be a champion here." And they say sarcastically. "And the others, I guess they just came to cheer you on." The moon was well up by the time Dunk turned his steps back toward his elm. That is his pavilion. Ashford Meadow was ablaze with torchlight. Sounds of song and laughter drifted across the grass. But Dunk is feeling very kind of nervous. What if he doesn't win? What's that going to mean? Oh boy. But he's like, only one victory. Rather, one victory is all I need. That's not so much to hope for. Even so, the old man would never have hoped for it. Sir Alan had not ridden a tilt since the day he had been unhorsed by the Prince of Dragonstone in a tourney at Storm's End. More nods to people that we know. Oh boy. "It is not every man who can boast that he broke 7 lances against the finest knight in the 7 kingdoms," he would say. "I could never hope for better, so why should I try?" Dunk had suspected that Sir Alan's age had more to do it than the Prince of Dragonstone did, but he never dared say as much. The old man had his pride, even at the last. "I am quick and strong," he always said so. What was true for him need not be true for me, Dunk told himself stubbornly. Oh dear. So, as Dunk is continuing toward his camp, he sees a flicker of firelight. What is this? Dunk did not stop to think. Suddenly, his sword was in his hand and he was crashing through the grass. He burst out roaring and cursing. only to jerk to a sudden halt at the sight of the boy beside the campfire. You! He lowered the sword. What are you doing here? Cooking a fish, said the bald boy. Do you want some? I meant, how did you get here? Did you steal a horse? I rode in the back of a cart with a man who was bringing some lambs to the castle for my Lord of Ashford's table. Well, you best see if he's gone yet and find another cart. I won't have you here. You can't make me go, the boy said, impertinent. I've had enough of that inn. I'll have no more insolence from you, Dunk warned. I should throw you over my horse right now and take you home. Again, I love this dialogue. I can just imagine this little kid and Dunk, of course, charging through the bushes and then seeing this little kid who's just like, I'm cooking a fish. And the boy says, You'd need to ride all the way to King's Landing. You'd miss the tourney. A hint, this kid's from King's Landing. King's Landing? And then Dunk's like, oh, of course, it must be somebody from Flea Bottom. He doesn't get the hint that George R. Martin is dropping. Dunk felt foolish standing there with sword in hand over an 8-year-old orphan, and so he sheathed it, glowering, so the boy would see that he would suffer no nonsense. I had to give him a good beating at the least, but the child looked so pitiful he could not bring himself to. My goodness gracious, what a world! He glanced around the camp. The fire was burning merrily within a neat circle of rocks. The horses had been brushed, the clothes were hanging from the elm, drying above the flames. What are those doing there? I washed them, the boy said, and I groomed the horses, made the fire, and caught this fish. I would have raised your pavilion, but I couldn't find one. There's my pavilion. Dunk swept a hand over his head at the branches of the tall elm that loomed above them. Again, look at this picture that they're painting. And this child is pretty competent. Look what he was able to do with this camp. That's a tree, the boy said, unimpressed. It's all the pavilion a true knight needs. I would sooner sleep under the stars than in some smoky tent. Aw, it's kind of romantic. Maybe he wouldn't be so romantic if he was older and a little more cynical, but you know what? So what? What if it rains? The tree will shelter me. Trees leak. Dunk laughed. So they do. Well, if truth be told, I lack the coin for a pavilion, and you'd best turn that fish or we'll be burned on the bottom and raw on the top. You'd never make a kitchen boy. I would if I wanted, the boy said, but he turned the fish. So there we are. So this kid's very determined. And I believe it, that if he wanted to do that, he would become the best kitchen boy ever. He does what he wants. Where did he get that attitude? I just can't imagine. Hello, everyone coming in. Yay, it's great to see you. What happened to your hair? The Meisters shaved it off. The Meisters, eh? Suddenly self-conscious, the boy pulled up the hood of his dark brown cloak. Dunk had heard that they did that sometimes to treat lice or rootworms or certain sicknesses. Are you ill? No. What's your name? Dunk. The wretched boy laughed aloud, as if that was the funniest thing he had ever heard. Dunk, he said. Sir Dunk? That's no name for a knight. Is that short for Duncan? Was it? The old man had called him just Dunk. And then, so he goes, yeah. That's not what's said in the book, not yeah. Sometimes, of course, I am paraphrasing as we move forward. Sir Duncan of... Well, he didn't know anything. He had no other name of a house. Sir Ireland had found him living wild in the stews and alleys of Flea Bottom. So, yeah, he came from Flea Bottom. And what was he to say? Sir Duncan of Flea Bottom did not sound very knightly. He could take Pennytree, but what if they asked him what it was? He had never been to Pennytree. And then eventually he blurts out, Sir Duncan the Tall. He was tall. No one could dispute that. Though the little sneak did not seem to think so. Oh, that it sounded puissant. I have never heard of any Sir Duncan the Tall. Do you know every knight in the Seven Kingdoms then? The boy looked at him boldly. The good ones. I'm as good as any. After the tourney, they'll all know that. Do you have a name, thief? Egg, he said. Dunk did not laugh. His head does look like an egg. Dun dun dun. Let's say this again. His head does look like an egg. In A Song of Ice and Fire, Varys is often described as an egg-like head, and he's bald. The theory, of course, is that egg is Varys, or Varys is egg. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat, too. Let me see. Small boys can be cruel, and grown men as well. Egg, I should beat you bloody and send you on your way, but the truth is I have no pavilion, and I have no squire either. If you'll swear to do as you're told, I'll let you serve me for the tourney. So yay, he has a tourney. He goes, I promise not to beat you unless you deserve it. Yes, my lord. Or, yes, my lord, he says. Yeah, again, not a peasant. Peasant would say, my lord. As Charles Dance made clear in the second season of Game of Thrones. I'm not entirely certain that that was in the book or not. I really don't remember. And I don't care about A Song of Ice and Fire until he finishes it. Sir, Dunk corrected, I am only a hedge knight. He wondered if the old man was looking down on him. I will teach him the arts of battle, the same as you taught me, sir. He seems a likely lad. Might be one day he'll make a knight, or more. The fish was still a little raw on the inside when they ate it. Oh my gosh, don't eat it then. Oh, they're going to be sick. You never eat raw fish. Unless it's like sushi or something. But yeah, I'm sure this is not the case. Egg soon fell asleep beside the dying fire. Then Dunk lay on his back nearby, his big hands behind his head, gazing up at the night sky. He could hear distant music from the tourney grounds half a mile away. The stars were everywhere, thousands and thousands of them. One fell as he was watching, a bright green streak that flashed across the black, then was gone. Now, from knowing anything about the Song of Ice and Fire world and everything, things that happen in the stars in the sky mean something. There was a big old comet at the Game of Thrones book, and now we have a falling star. A falling star brings luck to him who sees it, Dunk thought. But the rest of them are all in their pavilions by now, staring up at silk instead of sky. So the luck is mine alone. Yes, luck perhaps, or something more. Maybe something very fateful just happened and the skies confirmed it. So the next morning, he woke to a sound of a cock crowing. Egg was still there, curled up beneath the old man's second best cloak. Well, the boy didn't run off during the night. That's a start. So he prods him awake. Help me saddle. Up. There's work to do. Help me saddle Sweetfoot, and that's the horse. Dunk told him, what about breakfast? There's salt beef. After we're done. I'd sooner eat the horse. Egg said, Sir, you'll eat my fish if you don't do as you're told. Oh, wait, you'll eat my fist if you don't do as you're told. Yeah. So he's being bossy, but on the other hand, I'm thinking that the kid is not necessarily going to be bossed. Unless he is sometimes, because he ends up doing what he's told. That just occurred to me now. Egg was a good worker once he put his mind to it, Dunk saw. And then he says, I'm going to be gone the rest of the day, and that Dunk is to stay in the camp and make sure no other thieves come nosing about. Can I have a sword to run them off with? Egg asked. He had blue eyes, Dunk saw, very dark, almost purple. Loads of hints being dropped here. His bald head made them seem huge somehow. No, a nice enough. and you best be here when I come back. Do you hear me? Rob me and run off, and I'll hunt you down. I swear I will, with dogs." "You don't have any dogs," Egg pointed out. "I'll get some," said Dunk, "just for you." I love that. I love all of this. This is fun. I really like this book, and I love these characters. "I'm a great fool to trust the boy so far, but it is no more than the old man did for me," he reflected. "The mother must have sent him to me so that I could pay my debt." Yeah. So you see, again, he's a very honorable guy. He follows, the religion of the seven kingdoms, or at least it's part of his world. Just what a guy. Two thumbs up for Dunk. To the north, the meadow flowed the To the north of the meadow flowed the river Cuckold's a vassal stream to the mighty Mander. Yay, we get geography. Beyond the shallow ford lay town and castle. Two thumbs up for castles. We love castles here at Miss Martin Muses. Dunk had seen many a market town during his journeys with the old man. This is prettier than most. The whitewashed houses with their thatched roofs had an inviting aspect to them. I want to go hang out here. When he was smaller, he used to wonder what it would be like to live in such a place, to sleep every night with a roof over your head and wake every morning with the same walls wrapped around you. It may be that soon I'll know. I, an egg too. It could happen. Stranger things happened every day. They do indeed, precious. Yes, they do. Ashford Castle was a stone structure built in the shape of a triangle with round towers rising 30 feet tall at each point and thick. Crenellated walls running between, painting us a picture. Orange banners flew from the battlements, displaying the white sun and chevron sigil of its lord. Men-at-arms in orange and white livery stood outside the gates with halberds, watching people come and go, seeming more intent on joking with a pretty milkmaid than in keeping anyone out. So we're describing the people that are around them, pretty milkmaids. You got the men-at-arms, you got the banners, orange banners, white sun and chevron. So Dunk goes up to one of the first ones he sees and asks for the master of the games. "It's Plumber you want. He's steward here." Dunk slung Sir Arlen's battered shield over his shoulder and followed the guard's captain back of the stables to a turret built into an angle of the curtain wall. Steep stone steps laid up to the wall walk. Gosh, this is just making me nostalgic for castles and hanging around castles. And the captain asks, "Come to enter your master's name for the list? It's my own name I'll be putting in." "Is it now?" And so he's kind of making fun of him. "That door there." And so Dunk pushes open the door, and the steward is sitting at a trestle table, scratching on a piece of parchment with a quill. He had thinning gray hair and a narrow, pinched face. Gives him the very unceremonious introduction. "What do you want, man?" And he's saying he wants to enter the lists. The plumber rather says, "Are you a knight?" Dunk nodded. Wondering if his ears were red. Learning something else here. "A knight with a name?" "Sir Duncan the Tall." "And where might you be from?" "Every place. I was squire to Sir Arlen of Penetry since I was 5 or 6. This is his shield." So there he is not lying at all. So he found something. He's very clever. He found something to say that wouldn't give him away. "He knighted me before he passed with his own sword." I've never heard of this Arlen of Penetry. However, "You were his squire, you say?" Oh, wait. "A sword it is," he says. And then he says that. "He always said he meant for me to be a knight, as he was. When he was dying, he called for his long sword and bade me kneel. He touched me once on my right shoulder and once on my left and said some words. And when I got up, He said I was a knight. This is the first time we're hearing this story. Any knight can make a knight, it is true, though it is more customary to stand a vigil and be anointed by a septon before taking your vows. Giving us some background about what's supposed to happen with a knight. Were there any witnesses to your dubbing? Only a robin up in a thorn tree, always so close to nature and not in a way that's like weird. I heard it as the old man was saying the words. He charged me to be a good knight and true, to obey the 7 gods, defend the weak and innocent, serve my lord faithfully, and defend the realm with all my might. Honor. Oh boy. Let's see. Will you or your late master be known to any of the good knights here assembled? Dunk thought a moment. There was a pavilion flying the banner of House Dondarian, the black with purple lightning. That would be Sir Manfred. Sir Arlen served his father in Dorne 3 years past. So the man tells him that you need to talk to him and see if he will vouch for you. As you see, my lord. You see, Duncan uses my lord. Egg uses my lord. Sir Duncan, Dunk turned back. You are aware that those vanquished in tourney forfeit their arms, armor, and horse to the victors, and must needs ransom them back. Telling us how the rules work. I know. And you have coin to pay such a ransom? I won't have need of coin, he said, praying it was true. All I need is one victory. If I win my first tilt, I'll have the loser's armor and horse or his gold, and I can stand a loss myself. So he goes ahead and he leaves and he asks a stable boy for direction. He says, I need to speak with Lord Ashford's master of horse. And they find him for him. And he's going to sell Sweetfoot. And he feels really kind of bad about it, though the old man told him, a knight should never love a horse, since more than a few were like to die under him. Or at least if it's my horse in Skyrim. I always lose horses. Lose horses in Red Dead Redemption 2 as well. I don't know how I do it. Must be talent. So off he goes. Oh, wait. Before the master appeared, Dunk heard a blare of trumpets from the walls and voices in the yard. A large party of knights and mounted archers poured through the gates, 100 men at least, riding some of the most splendid horses that Dunk had ever seen. Some great lord is coming, he asked the nearby stable boy. Who are they? Can't you see the banners? The banners. Now, Dunk knows banners, and they have made this very clear throughout all of this. He looks, and the 2 of the other riders were armored in white from head to heel. Kingsguard Knight with the royal banners. Dun, dun, dun. And there was some other banner bearer was a tall knight in white scale armor chased with gold. A pure white cloak streaming from his soldiers. Whew. And there was the fair maid, too, a short girl with yellow hair and a round pink face. She did not seem so fair to me, Dunk thought. The puppet girl was prettier. Now, the reason why it's called The Maiden, they're going to explain in the next few pages. And someone calls to him, one of them, and says, boy, stable his horse. And he's like, I'm not a stable boy, my lord. Not clever enough? The speaker wore a black cloak bordered in scarlet satin, but underneath was a raiment bright as flame, all reds and yellows and golds. Slim and straight as a dirk, though only of middling height, he was near Dunk's old age. Curls of silver gold hair framed a face sculpted and imperious. Highbrow and sharp cheekbones, straight nose, pale, smooth skin without blemish. His eyes were a deep violet color. We got a Targaryen. And then he orders them to bring him a pretty wench and some wine. He's like, I'm not a serving man either. I'm no serving man either. I have the honor to be a knight. Knighthood has fallen on sad days, said the princeling. But then one of the stable boys came rushing up, and he, went on his way. Dunk was forgotten in an instant. That the beautiful stripling was a prince he had no doubt. The Targaryens were the blood of lost Valeria across the seas, and their silver gold hair and violet eyes set them apart from common men. Yes, thank you, George, for reminding us. Dunk knew Prince Baelor was older, but the youth might well have been his sons. Valar, I hope I'm saying that right, who is often called the young prince to old Lord Swan's fool, had named him once. Wow, there. Gosh, wait, that doesn't make sense. Who is often called the young prince to set him apart, rather, from his father, or Materis, the even younger prince, as the old Lord Swan's fool had named him once. There were other princelings as well, cousins to Valar and Materis. King Darin the Good had 4 grown sons, 3 with sons of their own. The line of the Dragon Kings had almost died out during his father's day, but it was commonly said that Darin II and his sons had left it secure for all time. Ah, yes, there was rebellions and things. No victory is ever a victory. History is one long defeat. And then Dunk moves over to where this selling guy is, and he says, I want to sell this palfrey. She's a good horse, surefoot. I have no time, I tell you. My lord of Ashford has no need of such. Take her to the town, perhaps Henley will give you a silver or 3. So off he goes to find Henley. And Dunk, though, asks him, rather before that, My lord, has the king come? The master of horse laughed at him. No, this is an infestation of princes is trial enough. Where am I going to find the stalls for all these animals? So we know it is not the king here. It is just, all of the princes. And 2 of the Kingsguard knights in their white armor and snowy cloaks still lingered in the yard. Dunk halted. My lords, I am Sir Duncan the Tall. Well met, Sir Duncan, answered the bigger of the white knights. I am Sir Roland Craighall, and this is my sworn brother, Sir Donald of Duckensale. So you see, the white knights they're kind of cool. These tower guards, rather king's guards. Well met. And this is, I think, one of the first times we don't see someone make fun of Duncan. The 7 champions of the king's guard were the most puissant warriors in all the 7 kingdoms, saving perhaps only the crown prince, Baelor Breckspear himself. So now we know that that's the name of the crown prince. Have you come to enter the list? Dunk asked anxiously. It would not be fitting for us to ride against those we are sworn to protect, answered Sir Donald, red of hair and beard. Prince Valar has the honor to be one of Lady Ashford's champions, and 2 of his cousins mean to challenge. The rest of us have only come to watch. So now we have that Lord Ashford's champions, rather Lady Ashford's champions. That's why she's the maiden fair. Relieved, Duncan thanked the knights for their kindness. 3 princelings, he pondered as he turned. Valar was the eldest son of Prince Baelor, second in line to the Iron Throne. But Dunk did not know how much of his father's fabled prowess with lance and sword he might have inherited. About the other Targaryen princes he knew even less. What will I do if I have to ride against a prince? Will I even be allowed to challenge one so highborn? He did not know the answer. The old man had often said he was thick as a castle wall, and just now he felt it. Aw, but he really isn't thick. But maybe he's thick about certain things. So now we have princes, we have Kingsguard, we have the crown prince, and the second in line. And Henley ends up taking the horse, but he has to haggle for it and everything. And Dunk even says he means to buy the horse back. So maybe it's not permanent. So he doesn't feel as guilty. And I don't feel as bad about him about him losing Sweetfoot. And then when he hands him the money, they point out dragons, men called the coins, since they were stamped with the three-headed dragon of House Targaryen on one side. The other bore the likeness of the king. Two of the coins Henley gave him had King Darren's face, and the third was older, well worn, and showed a different man. His name was there under his head, but Dunk could not read the letters. So I'm wondering who that one is. Maybe we'll find out. And all, he even gives back some of the money and goes, "That's for her, Sweetfoot the horsey. See that she has some oats tonight, and an apple too." No, I'm giving him an apple. What a guy. Any man that loves his pet is awesome, even though technically horses aren't pets, but we love animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Oh dear. Mm. So, anyways, by the time Dunk splashed back across the ford to the south bank of the Cockles the morning was almost done, and the tourney grounds had come to life once more. The wine sellers and sausage makers were doing a brisk trade. Gosh, when I think about wine and some of these things, I wonder if they have like hot wine, like hot spice wine, like Glühwein. That really heats you up. A dancing bear was shuffling along to his master's plaything as a singer sang, the bear, and the maiden fair." We know that song, don't we? Jugglers were juggling, and puppeteers were just finishing another fight. Dunk stopped to watch the wooden dragger slain. And when the knight cut its head off and the red sawdust spilled out onto the grass, he laughed aloud and threw the girl 2 coppers. "One for last night," he called. And she gave him, of course, a smile as sweet as he had ever seen. Is it me she smiles at, or the coins? Dunk had never been with a girl, and they made him nervous. So we have a virgin. He's pure in so many different ways. Once 3 years passed, he talks about the old man was gonna make a man of his, him at a hooer place, but he'd been drunk, though, the old man said, and when he was sober, he did not remember. So it never actually ended up happening. Dunk had been too embarrassed to remind him. He was not certain he wanted her anyways. If he could not have a high-born maiden like a proper knight, he wanted one who at least liked him more than his silver. Oh, the sweet summer child. So he asks the girl, "Will you drink a horn of ale? With me, I mean, or a sausage. I had a sausage last night. It was good. They're made with pork, I think." Oh, okay. He's kind of almost stumbling over his words and just babbling a bit. But, the girl can't do it because she has another show, but she's very polite and nice. She thanks him. So, she's not a witch or something that rhymes with witch. He liked the way she ran. And Duncan said he's also feeling stupid. A pretty girl and tall. I would not have to kneel to kiss that one. He knew how to kiss. And it talks about how he had a kiss with a tavern girl, that she had to sit up on a table to reach him, and he had to bend down. Oh boy. And then he kind of tells himself, I shouldn't be doing this. I need to be thinking about the tournament. I shouldn't be thinking about kissing. But obviously he is taken with this young lady. Lord Ashford's carpenters were whitewashing the waist-high barriers that would separate the jousters. Yay, so we get to get more description. Dunk watched them work a while. There were 5 lanes arrayed north to south, so none of the competitors would ride with the sun in his eyes. A 3-tiered viewing stand had been raised on the eastern side of the lists, with an orange canopy to shield the lords and ladies from the rain and sun. Most would sit on benches, but 4 high-backed chairs had been erected in the center of the platform for Lord Ashford, the fair maid, and the visiting princes. On the eastern verge of the meadow, a quintain had been set up, and a dozen knights were tilting at it, sending the pole arms spinning every time they struck the splintered shield suspended from one end. Dunk watched the brute of Bracken take his turn. Then Lord Karen of the Marches. I do not have as good a seat as any of them, he thought uneasily. Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. He's pretty confident of himself and rather going into it, but now he's like, oh man, look at these other guys. I cannot compare with this. Elsewhere, men were training afoot, going at each other with wooden swords while their squires stood shouting ribald advice. Whew. Dunk watched a stocky youth try to hold off a muscular knight who seemed lithe and quick as a mountain cat. Both had the red apple of the Fossaways painted on their shields. But the younger man's was soon hacked and chipped to pieces. Here's an apple that's not ripe yet, the older said as he slammed the other's helm. The other younger Fossaway was bruised and bloody by the time he yielded, but his foe was hardly winded. He looked about the victor, rather, and saw Duncan said, You there, yeah, you, the big one, or yes, you, the big one, knight of the winged chalice. Is that a long sword you wear? It's mine by rights, Dunk said defensively. I am Sir Duncan the Tall, and I am Sir Stephen Fossaway. Would you care to try me, Sir Duncan the Tall? It would be good to have someone new to cross swords with. And then the beaten Fossaway boy says, Do it, Duncan, do it, Sir Duncan. I may not be right, but my good cousin is rotten to the core. Knock the seeds out of him. Is he rotten to the core? We shall find out. But Dunk refuses to do so, but he's like, I got other stuff to do. He needs to actually pay some things off. And he's like, the sooner he does it, the better. Sir Stephen looked at him scornfully. The Hedge Knight has matters. And then he goes and bullies some other one to do it. Yeah. Oh boy. And of course, he didn't want to get into the middle of a quarrel between these people, and which is a good thing as well. Also, he did not have many tricks to himself, feeble or otherwise, but he did not want anyone to see him fight until the tourney. The old man always said that the better you knew your foe, the easier it was to beat him. So he didn't want to go ahead and give away anything. And Dunk was strong and quick, and his weight and reach were in his favor, but he did not believe for a moment that his skills were the equal of these others. All right. So maybe when I was talking about confidence or something, I misspoke because he knows himself. He knows himself very well. I will show them I can be more than a hedge knight, though. Oh, again, innocence, but earnestness. And this is going to be rewarded. So that's why I say this is a very nice tale. Rewarded in a roundabout way, I should say. And then the younger Fossaway hurries to catch up with him. I should not have urged you to try my cousin. So, hey, he admits when he was wrong. It was wrong of me. You have no armor. He would have broken your hand if he could, or a knee. He likes to batter men in the training yard so they will be bruised and vulnerable later. Yeah. It's like, well, he did not break you, but I am his own blood. Though his is the senior branch of the apple tree, as he never ceases to remind me. I am Raymond Fossaway. Well met. And then he says, well, he's not going to be in the tourney because I am only a squire as yet. Raymond had a square face, a pug nose, short woolly hair, but his smile was engaging. And then as they leave after a little conversation, he says, May the warrior smile on you. Yay. And you. We're getting more descriptions now of the tourney and how this all works. There were a dozen different forms a tourney might follow, according to the whim of the lord who hosted it. Some were mock battles between teams of knights. Others were wild melees, where the glory went to the last fighter left standing. Where individual combats were the rule, pairings were sometimes determined by lot and sometimes by the master of the games. Lord Ashford was staging this tourney to celebrate his daughter's 13th name day. The fair maid would sit by his father's side as the reigning queen of love and beauty. That's why she is the fair maid. 5 champions wearing her favors would defend her. All others must perforce be challengers. But any man who could defeat one of the champions would take his place and stand as a champion himself. until such time as another challenger unseated him. At the end of 3 days of jousting, the 5 who remained would determine whether the fair maid retained the crown of love and beauty, or whether another would wear it in her place. So that's how the rules of the game. And Dunk just keeps singing one victory. He just needs one victory. Then he could name himself one of the champions of Ashford Meadow, if only for an hour. Oh, so yeah, he could live off of that. The old man had lived nigh on 60 years and had never been a champion. It's not too much to hope for if the gods are good. And he thought back on all the songs he had heard of blind Simeon Star Eyes and noble Serwyn of the Mirror Shield, Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, Sir Ryan Reddywain, and Florin the Fool. They had all won victories against foes far more terrible than any he would face. But they were great heroes, brave men of noble birth, except for Florian. And what am I? Dunk of Fleabottom or Sir Duncan the Tall? Aha, the question of the ages, a question of the work. And he supposed he would learn the truth of that soon enough. And we end this section of the reading with him going off to buy some steely plate. So there it is. There it is, the next part. I just am feeling like I'm sinking into just this world. I love it. I love it. And I really hope they do a good job with the TV show. I am not naive enough to know that it's going to have its problems. Why is it going to have its problems? Because all roads lead to season 8 of Game of Thrones. They keep trying to tie it all in, and I'm aware of that. But I am in a place right now where I am able to separate all of that out, just the same way I'm able to completely separate this from A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we only have Fire and Blood, part 1, and we have the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, these books, these 3 novels, because you know what, until he finishes it, it's not the same. And I know that he has planned more Duncan Egg stories and that it's not necessarily done, but in my humble opinion, they can stand alone. So I want to thank everyone that has come in and is with me on this journey. I'm how do I say this? This helps me. This helps me. And it was nice for me to have this before I have to go back to the hospital. So I hope maybe you had as much fun with this as I did. And let me know in the comments if you are watching this later, or even if you're watching this now, because of course that helps. And give me any feedback. I am definitely appreciative of it. So I want to thank Salty Traveling Sea. Thank you for popping in. And thank you everyone that is popping in right now. As always, welcome here. It's always good to see you. And people that have been lurking in the background. You're all very important to me, and I really do enjoy seeing you here. So I need to go. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain to read good stories.